Wala, and today I'm back with another interview. So today we have a wonderful guest whose journey brings together education, creativity, humanitarian work, personal growth, and a strong desire to make a positive difference in the world. So our guest is the wonderful Miss Danelle Boyles. Hi, Miss Danelle. How are you doing?
Hi, hello Hamzah. Good evening. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me join you today.
It's an honor to host you, ma'am. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. I'm good. We're getting the day started. I'm about to go have some brunch with my family and, just try to enjoy the day today.
That's good to know. So to start off the session, I'd like to ask you what first inspired you to dedicate your life to helping in helping others.
I'm sorry, we cut out for humanitarian work and helping others.
Yep, I meant that what inspired you that you wanted to work on helping others instead of working on yourself.
It kind of has gone hand in hand. Uh, when you work on yourself and you do things to improve yourself, your surroundings, your education, and how you experience life, it kind of leads you into wanting to help and inspire others who might also be struggling with similar circumstances. But truly, getting into helping others began a very, very long time ago when my children were young and I got involved in education.
That's great to know. So, you wanted to be a teacher, or
Mhm.
what was
Um,
the flow?
I'm not a certified teacher. I carry certifications and other practices, but I began working in education when my oldest son was in preschool. He is developmentally challenged, and so from the time he was young, I wanted to understand how the school system helped and supported individuals who were differently abled and needed to have adaptive services in order to be able to help them, which all students deserve adaptive services of some form or another to assist them in their learning and how to adapt their streamline of learning to their individual needs.
That's wonderful to know. That's wonderful to know. So, what is that one main lesson that your journey has taught you?
Oh, the one lesson, it would have to be just overall humanity, which encompasses an umbrella of love, patience, kindness, and understanding of other individuals, regardless of what their journey or pathway looks like.
That's wonderful to know. So, what did working with different able students teach you about people and potential?
That potential is unlimited, regardless of an individual's um, base needs and abilities. That there's not a learning plateau. There's always space to be able to expand into with the right kind of environmental care.
All right, that's great to know. So, what do you think? How in today's right now, how can school develop more to prepare with students from any who have any type of base needs, who are not normal people? How do you think schools can improve so that they can work with any child, regardless of base needs?
Yeah. I feel like from a personal and professional point of view, I have realized that schools don't necessarily look at individuals enough as individuals. That there is too much of a compartmentalized just development of having to keep this basic form of education that all students are supposed to conform and fit into. And expanding outside of that box is what is going to really assist individuals for, adapting to their needs.
Okay, that's great to know. So, I have seen that you like art as well, if I'm not wrong. So, what does art mean to you personally?
Art is a very huge part of my life. I have been an artist from the time that I was young, doing authorship and artwork. I've been in art classes and literature classes that expanded my experience, but artwork for me is very much an energetic and creative and healing adaptive tool for individuals who are wanting to have self-discovery, healing, and just expanding the neuroplasty of the consciousness expansion, because when you expand yourself creatively, then you expand your neural network. Every time you learn to do something new, or every time you create, you're expanding your ability.
Yep, that's true. That's wonderful to know. So, can artistic expressions help people understand themselves better? If you think so, then why do you think like, in that perspective?
Yeah, I do very much. As an individual that encompasses all forms of like art and writing, with with journeying through learning yourself and healing and just wanting to expand an individual's like desire to learn things. Art helps individuals with being able to identify themselves, whether it is through color or shape or design. And even individuals that are just beginning to learn art, they're navigating a new creativity, and that in and of itself helps develop a kind of a self-confidence whenever you learn to develop a new skill.
That's great. That's wonderful to know. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, what is one humanitarian experience that will always be in your memories or has a long lasting impact on you?
Oh, I get asked this question a lot, and it's sometimes hard for me to pinpoint just a specific experience, but I always go back to what got me into humanitarian education. And I work with the Glory Future Foundation very closely, and there's many children worldwide that are in circumstances that they don't have access to even basic education or basic art, music, English, writing. And I began teaching class with individuals who lived in very impoverished areas in Bangladesh with Saeed Khan, and who is the founder of Glory Future Foundation. And we've been working together for a handful of years now on many different projects, expanding education worldwide. And teaching individuals, students, little children who had never gotten to take an art class before, via cell phones and instructors on from one side of the world to the other. Having a group of children that are, sitting out in an open field. And this is my very favorite memory, because I got to really see and experience how it affected the children's well-being, how it affected their pathway of understanding that regardless of their circumstances, there's individuals in the world that want them to develop and succeed, and to be able to find the pathway to where they want to expand and learn and grow, even if they don't think that they have the opportunity right there immediately where they are.
That's awesome to know. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, what have you learned from working with different cultures?
With different cultures, I feel like already being an individual that is very compassionate, I already have like an openness for understanding different individuals of different walks of life. But working with different cultures really opens your mindset to not having judgment on anyone, their belief systems, their own walk of life, having patience and understanding for individuals that um, it's life is free, and life is free range, and everyone operates on different levels of this world. And so having a very divine understanding of how all of these cultures work together to form this world, no matter what kind of walk of life they live in.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So, what advice would you give to someone who wants to completely change their direction of life?
Mm. That can be a hard one because whenever you are looking for advice to give to individuals that want to completely turn around their life, it takes a very internal look on what you are doing with your life and how you are perceiving yourself in order to do that. And so, whenever an individual wants to do that, it requires self work. And there's a lot of individuals that don't want to look that deeply within themselves because it can be hard. It makes you see where your cracks and your fractures are and where you need to do the internal work in order to perceive yourself in that different point of view that you want to learn and grow into. So self-evaluation is the biggest thing. Evaluate where you react negatively to other individuals, in inappropriate ways, and how you react to yourself just whenever you are being true to yourself, and knowing how to just be human. I mean, even when you're learning and growing, you still have to give yourself grace that you're learning along the way.
Yep, that's true. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your insightful answer. So,
Of course.
Miss Danelle, I'd like to ask you that what is one skill you think everyone should develop in this day, in today's world?
Good communication.
Any
Yeah.
reason?
Just for that, good communication. Good communication develops peace skills, learning skills, humanitarian skills, communication in a manner that is respectable and understandable can resolve any conflict, any indifference, and can open doors to pretty much anything that you want to do.
All right, that's great to know. Thank you so much for that opinion of yours. So,
Yeah.
since you have received several international awards and honors, what do those honors mean to you?
I very much love and appreciate the accolades and the recognition that I get for the work I do, but I'm very benign to it because at this point in the last 4 or 5 years, I've received so many awards and recognitions, and it's very appreciated, but that's not why I'm in the work that I do to get the recognition. The recognition that I receive is from seeing the change that's happening among people and countries that I have worked very closely with, developing organizations and embodying this network of change. And I have worked very hard to build and develop this network globally for the last handful of years. So I very much appreciate and respect the accolades. I've even received an honorary doctorate, which I never, in my life thought that I would be a recipient of an honorary doctorate. It seems almost whimsical or like a daydream, whenever I look at it. I'm like, oh, this is really mine, for the work that I've done. And but I feel like there's an overconsumption of wanting recognition for work that we're doing to help humanity. And so for me, that's not my focus of why I do what I do. Um, although I do very much appreciate the recognition when I do get it.
That's awesome to know. That's awesome to know, and congratulations on all of your recognitions.
Thank
I
you.
know it's quite too late to congratulate you, but congratulations.
Oh no, thank you. I appreciate it. It's one of those things that um, It's kind of like being told you're pretty, or being told that that you carry yourself well, or receiving compliments. After a while, it just becomes part of like what you're doing, and so when you do the line of work, it can be difficult to put focus on it, because that's just not the reason why you do the work.
Yeah, fair enough. So what continues to motivate you after more than 25 years of professional experience?
What still motivates me after 25 years of experience? The same thing that always has. I have this innate desire and need to help other individuals be understood and excel. And it is just this drive of wanting other individuals to feel heard and seen. I've worked over the years with many students that are nonverbal, and that their adaptive needs are not easily met because they have very much uh, disruptive like thought processes. They have difficulty with focusing or with maintaining cognitive connection between their mind and their physical ability. And so finding the way to make that connection, to get that individual to be able to complete either a cognitive skill, or being able to listen and interpret what they need to, is very much an achievement. And so, but it's like that not just with differently abled students or individuals, but with anyone who has kind of lost their way, because very similar things happen with individuals who have experienced trauma. Whenever you experience trauma or experience diversity in life that causes you to become collapsed, you experience a neurological shutdown. And so that neurological shutdown is very similar to individuals who have those cognitive disabilities, where you can't make the connections to launch yourself back into go mode. And so you have to rebuild those neural connections a little bit at a time in order to be able to achieve what you're wanting to.
Yep. Thank you so much for sharing that insightful answer. I appreciate it a lot.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
was there a particular moment in your life that changed the direction of your life, or it was your you wanted to be on this position?
I've had many moments in my life that have changed the direction of what I'm doing and what my goals are. I have gone through different forms of adversity in life and experiences that gave me my own setbacks. And, everything from, I became a widow 6 years ago. And so that was very much a turning point. I've experienced divorce in the family. I have experienced divorce and separation in my own family when I was young. And so all through life, these things set us on a different trajectory. Going through illness, experiencing injuries, you know, there's so many different times in life that you have to make the choice to either sit in a stagnant state, or you make the choice to move forward, grow, and use what you've gone through, in order to go to the next level of yourself.
Yep, that's good to know. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Miss Danelle. So, how do you define success beyond awards and recognition?
Whenever I see individuals that I have either worked with, that I've coached, that I've worked with either energetically, or have experienced some form or another of what I call like an activation. Whenever you help an individual to change the course of their life by sharing experience or knowledge, healing, anything along those lines, when I see that they have grown and developed into a new pathway, this is like the ultimate reward. And so I see many individuals and students that I have worked with that are in other countries that are now in similar lines of work, and they're doing the same, the same kinds of things, or they've started a new career path. And even just individuals who are just growing and developing into new healthy mindsets. The levels are all different for different individuals.
So when you have worked with someone and you see that you're like they're actually like implementing on what you have taught them, that's the feeling that your work has finally paid off.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, whenever I see great change, you know, happening, that is my payoff.
That's awesome to
Financially,
know.
financial abundance is wonderful, and it's nice whenever we're financially taken care of. But for me, in the long run, it is seeing individuals flourish is what my greatest reward is.
That's awesome to know. Thank you so much, Miss Danelle, for sharing that, and thank you so much for coming on the show and giving your wonderful answers and your precious time. So, any
Absolutely.
last advice you'd like to give to my audience?
I like to always just put out there that there is a whole world that needs extended support in one way or another. And there's so many individuals that are always asking what they can do in order to, contribute or participate to change in the world to make it a better place. And my advice though is start with yourself and how you react to the world. And when you discover how you react to the world, then you can implement how the world reacts to you in response. But just always be supportive of your fellow human, and to do well and be well.
So, before doing anything, you are supposed to know yourself and know yourself the best so that you know what do you want to do.
Yes, absolutely.
That's wonderful to know. Thank you so much, Miss Danelle, for giving that wonderful advice, and thank you for coming on the show. Yes, everyone, she was our guest for today, the wonderful Miss Danelle Boyles. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys with another guest.